G'day everyone, I am Gareth McAllister and I am bringing you the first race of the Super Late Touring Series brought to you by American Sim Racing Club. Now these drivers are just about to get out onto their qualifying runs to start off the race tonight. Tonight we have Charlotte Motor Speedway, 1.5 miles. And we are going to do 5 laps of heat racing before we get into the actual feature race, which is going to be 50 laps long. Going to watch this right now. We're going to bring up the tower. That'll be our practice is just about to end. Well, there we go. There's pretty much just a little bit earlier than what I was supposed to do. John DeMesta there is going to be our feature at the moment while we watch him just at the end of practice there. So, yeah, just heading into qualifying to get this race underway. Now, the track opened up in 1960, Charlotte Motor Speedway. It's been around quite a while. 24 degrees of banking in the corners and 5 degrees on the straightaways. It's going to be a nice big oval for these Super Late models here at the moment. We're reaching speeds around about 180 miles an hour, so very, very quick in these super late model cars at the moment. Or we will be, as we're going to switch on to Kenneth Farmer. He's going to make his way out to start doing his first qualifying run. Now, there were 12 races in this season, spanning from the late end of 2022 the early days of 2023. No, not a gap at all for these drivers, going from back to back, 12 races in a row. I believe there are no breaks. And we've seen quite a healthy grid of cars out here today. I believe we've got around about 22 cars making their way out on track at the moment. So, as you can see there, Andrew Payne setting the fastest lap already. That's a beautiful paint scheme from Andrew Payne in the 93 machine there. That Camaro looking front end as well really suits that Super Late model, if you ask me, as he makes his way to do his final run. 2 laps of qualifying. Pit road speed is going to be a very low, very slow and lazy 30 miles an hour. Compared to their 180 or so that they'll be running on the straights, that's quite a difference in pace. You can be sure of that. Aiden Swank coming in, trying to beat Payne's time, not going to get it done. Just a teeny bit off. To see if I can get Lee Norton coming in with a second position. Out of nowhere, Nick Fleury coming in 4th at the moment. David Payton in 5th right now. Michael Sturgill still going for a run. Trying to get things sorted. But yeah. So that brings the end of qualifying. There you go. So I just realized a small mistake where I didn't show any of the times, and that was my bad. So I apologize to all the viewers who have turned in at the moment to watch this happen. But yeah, so we're getting ready to roll with Heat 1. And Heat 1 starting in just a moment. Switch, there we go. So we are showing Tellerico as starting in first for the first of, I believe, 2 heats. Might be more actually heats than that, but yeah, so Tellerico is actually a no-show on the grid at the moment, so he will be starting from the pits if at all. Might have to be sending that one back, might have had a few problems in the garage area. Kenneth Farmer is actually going to lead this one, followed by John Kane, Devon McDonald, Donovan Cardy, Nick Fleury, Andrew Payne, and Zach Rush. They will lead us off for the first heat here. 5 laps, and this will be to determine the grid order for our, well, for our lap 50 feature race. Interesting point to note, Charlotte has a giant, the world's largest actually, HD TV screen fitted in 2010 on a deal with Panasonic. 200 feet wide, 80 foot tall. It's on the backstretch. I'm sure we'll get a glimpse of it as we go and make our way around this track. But of course, it was surpassed in 2014 in Texas by Panasonic as well because everything is bigger in Texas. So, of course, that had to be the case. We're going to get this one underway. Pace truck has pulled in. Green flag is out. Kane gets a horrible start. Not sure what was happening there. No, sorry, that was Kenneth Farmer. Kane gets a great start on the inside. That was fantastic. Bringing a whole bunch of cars with him. Andrew Payne, Donovan Cardy as well. Farmer drops all the way back to 4th. Actually on the high side there. And there's a huge crash. That came out of nowhere. We will see if we can get a up on that one. I'm struggling a little bit more than I'd like to be honest. Not sure. I'm gonna pause that one and back a bit. Get a better camera angle. Oh yeah, okay. Well, that was a crash. That's what that was. Yeah, it looked like 18 of Devon McLeod just got a little bit loose and just went straight up. Um, so yeah. I don't know if anyone else on the broadcast can actually hear that instant replay music when I bring up that, but that is throwing me off something chronic. That is horribly loud in my ears, and I hope it is not that bad for you, but it is, and I am sorry about that. It was a lot of stress heading into the booth tonight. I will be perfectly honest about that. Our friend Mason is cheering us on in chat. Thank you, Mason. He was helping me with our last minute adjustments to try and fix everything. So, you know, trying to calm the nerves and put on the best show possible for everyone watching. I will try my best here. But yes, so we have John Kane, Zach Rush, and Donovan Cardy will be our top 3. Nick Fleury, Andrew Payne in 5th. Kenneth Farmer and Devon McDonald had that, we should call it an incident. Yeah, I seem to have missed the, anyway, we'll continue going. It's fine. Jason telling me that, yeah, they can hear the music. I'm not, particularly fond of how ridiculously loud that is, but I don't think there's a way for me to change it, and just unfortunate. But yeah, so we're going green again. John Kane is going to be leading the field quite handsomely at the moment. Zach Rush just behind. They're going to go too wide. Andrew Payne around the outside of Nick Fleury. Zach Rush and Donovan Carty getting in a little bit of a tussle as well, as Andrew Payne makes a nice move through the underside there of Zach Rush. Zach Rush falling a little bit further behind. Definitely an anime backing on that machine, as he gets also passed by Nick Fleury. Fastest lap of this heat race so far, Andrew Payne. 33.64, so definitely a quick time for him at the moment. And he's going to keep making up spots, finding his way underneath Donovan Carty. And he is going to make that move, I wouldn't say look easy, as Donovan Carty seems to fire back on the high side. And that's a real nice contrast there. The black and white machines going at it. Donovan Carty, number 3 machine, definitely reminiscent of you-know-who, the man, Dale Earnhardt Sr. So that is great to see as well. Trying to get the draft off of Andrew Payne at the moment. Nothing doing, though, as Andrew Payne just seems to have something potentially illegal strapped underneath the bonnet of that car. Almost wondering if there's some little bit of nitrous spurting in there, but never mind. I'm sure the tech inspectors will have to look at that one, as he's making his way around, and he's going to attack John Kane now, as Kane tries to fend the inside. Donovan Carty going to the high side. No, there's going to be a switchback. Andrew Payne determined to take that low line. John Kane stuck on the high side. Donovan Carty is going to make that work as well. Nick Fleury comes down pit lane, I believe, or we may have lost him at the moment. And that is the end of the heat race. I felt like I was just getting into a rhythm. Such is the way of feature formats. Yeah, John Lee asking me if I can lower it in chat. I appreciate everyone tuning in and talking to me. I would love to lower it if I could. Unfortunately, I have no vague idea if I can do that, because yeah, I'm not seeing an option. So that's I'm gonna have to have a go at Mason on that one. But regardless, I'll just throw him under the bus. Um, But yeah, so if I didn't already say it, because I can't remember at the top of the show, this is broadcasted by Team Goon Squad, hopefully in 1080p, my Australian internet trying its best to bring the coverage that you so rightly deserve. Going to see the second heat formation lap head around. Lee Campbell, John DeMister, Stephen Hoffman, Charles Darling, Michael Sturgill Jr., Lee Norton, Eric Hain, and Cameron DeRue, who it appears is very similar to what we had last heat and is not going to actually make the grid. So it's just going to be 7 cars once again. I will switch to the ticker, probably it's a way to view it. And yeah, hopefully the ticker actually works for me. If not, I will switch back to the tower. All right, John Lee telling me I'm fine. Thank you very much, John Lee. Very much appreciated. My first time covering the ASRC, American Sim Racing Club, taking over from my good friend and pal and colleague in Mason Heimbaugh. But Lee Campbell having a struggle streak on the start as well. We've seen a lot of starts not going the way these cars have wanted to go. That ticker is not working. And I think we might have, hopefully we haven't lost the tower. We have, oh, there we go. The tower's back. Awesome. So, we have the 7 cars and we are going to keep going. So, John DeMister, see there, Lee Campbell, and we're going to have Lee Campbell and Eric Hayne just behind, and we've got a caution already again. Oh, don't make me bring this sound out again. That's going to be Sturgill. Something's happened to him. Hopefully I was able to turn that down a little bit before too loud during. And we've got the camera angle completely wrong once again, so we're going to have to fix that. A little bit loose on the inside, able to lock it down pretty easily though. A little bit of a pirouette. Nice form, 10 out of 10. I will say so myself. Ballerina judge right here. No. So we will go back and have a look at it again. There's a lot. And yeah, there's just going to be a little bit of bumping and grinding there with Stephen Hoffman towards the midway of the pack. And the number 90 machine just sent around. Luckily, didn't hit anything though, so that definitely a bonus, that's for sure. So just a minor bit of damage on the side panel of both of those cars, and nothing major happening, which is to see. I'm hoping I can lower that time for everyone listening in at home, but it is not working the way I want it to. Regardless, so Michael Sturgill just coming out of the pits, obviously getting some more fresh tires, so he's going to see if that's going to actually do him much good. There are only 7 cars in this heat race, but we do only have 2 laps to go, so it will be definitely an interesting one as I try to regain my composure up here in the booth as well. So John DeMister, currently your leader. Lee Campbell is going to be starting alongside, I believe, the race truck is going to do one more lap from the look of it. And get ready with this one. Oh no, he's coming down. So we're doing single file. I thought we were double files all the time, but here we go. Don DeMister having a nice jump. Charles Darling left in the dust as well as Lee Campbell, but almost holding up Lee Norton just behind. Lee Norton goes the outside, trying to make a move. That camera angle's too close. We'll go a little bit further away. And Charles Darling making that move on the high side. Oh no, Lee Norton, sorry, is on the high side. Charles Darling on the inside, but still making a move, so we're not entirely wrong as Lee Campbell gets stuck on the high side. Charlotte Motor Speedway producing a lot more racing than I expected to see already, so Lee Norton coming in third at the moment, overtaking Lee Campbell just behind. Michael Sturgill's currently setting the fastest lap of the race at the moment, and he's sitting in 6th place, so he's not going to be able to get there to challenge these front runners at the moment, but here we go as Charles Darling looks like he's going to take the inside of John DeMister, trying to take away, and Lee Norton way down on the low side, potentially 3 wide finish. We're hinting at it, we're looking for it, it's not going to happen. Just taken by Charles Darling, setting the fastest lap at a 31.29. Just by 1. Wait, why did I have... I swear I had... That was the final lap. Anyway, we're going to keep going, and wow. That was a little bit of a knock there, wasn't it? Yellow flag is out for that one. I thought we were going to the final lap. We were not. I was misled. I believe that's probably because we went to a green-white caution. I am very unfamiliar with the heat format. I apologize. We are going to go have a look at just went on there. So loud. All right, so yeah, it just looks like they got into each other heading down the straight, and then it looked like it was going to get collected fine, but Lee Norton just comes up the racetrack and just John DeMista was already there, essentially, and nowhere to go. Smooth sailing for Lee Campbell, just parting the seas there as the rest of the field goes through. Nice lock up off the brakes by John DeMista there to get that one dialed in. All right. It's not a bad idea, Mason. I will try and get that one sorted out. Look at that. So hopefully, but now, hopefully you guys can all hear the cars. I will find out. I'm sure someone will tell me if they're not, but I'm trying to figure this out so the audio doesn't make a mockery of me. Why have we gone into scenic view all of a sudden? What is my software doing to me? Darling's still out in the lead, I know that much. Alright, here we go. Charles Darling, Lee Campbell just behind. Eric Hayne following in as well. Well, Eric Haynes just lost a spot to Michael Sturgill. They're going side by side. They did beat and bang just a little bit. Eric Hayne had a lot of trouble trying to, trying to get that one sorted out as Lee Norton makes his way around as well. So this will hopefully be the final lap, but I'm not taken for a ride once again as Charles Darling looking like he's going to wrap it up. Lee Campbell just behind, but this is where we're focusing on as Lee Norton tries to get around Michael Sturgill. It's going to be close. Yes, he does, right at the line. Just absolutely barely. 31.1 last time by for Lee Norton, edging out by 0.02 of a second ahead of Michael Sturgill in fourth. So that was very action-packed, wasn't it? All right, John Lee telling me. So John Lee, I appreciate you very much for letting me know the ongoings of what is happening as I am trying to get this race to you in the best possible way. Um, it's not quite the view, is it? All right, so here is our third heat race. Blake Lothian starting out. Dante Hure, Randall Taylor, Ryan Wilderson, Tim Rogers, David Payton, and Hayden Swank. This time, all drivers who are in the heat race will be competing. However, once again, there are only 7 drivers, so yes, thank you to John Lee. I know I've said it before, I'll say it again, helping me through these technical difficulties, and I believe most of it should be pretty good at the moment, so should be getting underway pretty easily and pretty confidently from now on. So, I hopefully will not eat my words in the future, but yeah, so here we go as Lothian and Hewer take the green. Lothian gets a huge jump. Nice start there. Hewer getting left a little bit behind. Wilderson just in front of this battle happening just behind him. Peyton and Swank going at it. Peyton gets ahead of Swank. Tim Rogers gets ahead of Randall Taylor as well, as Taylor falls quite a ways back in that very striking looking number 12 machine. I quite like the look of that machine there as we head a little bit further up, as he has a little bit of a blink. Ryan Wilderson hunting down Dante Hewer. David Payton and Hayden Swank just behind are also going to be engaged in a little bit of a battle. So this is almost like a four-car breakaway, if you will. Blake Lothian just absolutely gone from this pack just behind him. Almost a second ahead at this point. And there's the gap. I should have had this earlier. I've got it worked out now. So Ryan Wilderson making his way around of Dante Hewer. David Payton as well coming in. Swank is going to try and take advantage of that, but there's four cars under a blanket as we continue to go too wide, too deep, and it's going to be hectic coming into the start-finish straight. Just see, going over the start-finish line, Hayden Swank trying to make that move stick and gets a little bit loose, might just get into the side of Wilderson, able to avoid doing what I just said, and Dante Hewer trying to take advantage, nothing doing as Hayden Swank shuts the door and continues to stay on the inside. Swank making his way around Wilderson, but Wilderson firing back. Once again, these two cars not wanting to give up any room whatsoever. Hewer and Rogers also side by side just behind. Peyton's going to be happy to see them fighting in his rear view as they come to the final lap of this heat race. And Lothian with a tremendous lead. Peyton just ahead. Swank, Wilderson are going to be side by side. Swank's going to take it. Wilderson looked like he tapped the outside wall. There's a little bit of a battle behind as well. And Rogers looks like he's outpaced Hewer by... It's so close, it doesn't even register. That was not telling me it's got to be in the thousandths because I've got it to the hundreds and it does not register how far away they were from each other. So that was intense for that second last spot for the fifth place in that heat there, heat number 3, as we prepare for the warm-up. So these drivers will get a chance to calm down and get themselves situated, as well as myself a little bit here in the booth. As we're going to watch a couple of drivers just milling around this track, getting used to a little bit of odd bumps and shakes on the car at the moment. We've seen a few bobbles from some of the cars in the field. Thankfully, well, there were a couple of accidents. I was about to say fairly trouble-free. Not sure I can say that, but um, there wasn't too terrible. It could have been a lot worse. So, we're going to keep this one going, and we'll see how they go. But they have one set of additional tires. As I said at the start, pit speed is 30 miles an hour. And going from 180 heading into turn 3, the exit of turn 4, that's quite the drop in speed. I mean, if you've got to drop 150 mile an hour within several hundred meters, I'm sure those brakes are going to feel that as the warm-up is coming to a close, and we're going to get this feature race started in a bit. Now, even though this racetrack is called Charlotte Motor Speedway, it is not actually in Charlotte. It's located in Concord, North Carolina, which is actually 13 miles away from the city of Charlotte itself. So just a little fun little tidbit there for those watching. And yeah, that's all I can really say about that. As to get the grid lined up here, Andrew Payne is going to be starting first. We saw a very, very dominant car out of Payne, so not entirely surprised to see him up there. Charles Darling as well. Blake Lothian with a third spot on the grid. So here's the grid. We can actually run through that real quick. So we're going to, aren't we? So we have Andrew Payne starting up front, Charles Darling in second position, Blake Lothian in third position. Fourth, Donovan Cardy. Fifth, Lee Campbell. Sixth, David Payton. John Kane in seventh. Eighth, making up your fourth row. Hayden Swank and John Rush in your fifth row. Michael Sturgill Jr. and Ryan Wilderson in 12th position, cycling it on back just a bit. Should have done that quicker. Nick Fleury in 13th, Eric Hahn in 14th, Tim Rogers in 15th, Kenneth Farm 16th, Don DeMister in 17th, Dante Hewer in 18th, Devin McDonald starting in 19th, Stephen Hoffman 10th row, rounding out the 10th row in 20th position, Randall Taylor in 21st, 22nd, Tanner Tellerico, and Cameron De 23rd. Last two drivers there on the grid will not actually be starting the race. So I guess we'll get ready to get down to it. So I'm getting told we can't hear the cars anymore. So I guess the choices at the moment are either we have cars or we have and a very, very loud replay button, or we have no cars and no replay. So that's what I'm working with here up at the booth at the moment. And I will hopefully be able to get that dialed in to the point where it will not be an annoyance. Andrew Payne, a huge start. Not sure why I'm showing Devin McDonald starting in first position, but I am, as he goes for a little bit. He had a little bit of a moment with the driver just behind. Camera angle keeps switching on me as well, as we watch three cars filing out. Aiden Swank, John Kane, and David Patton all under a blanket. As Hayden Swank works his way underneath John Kane. And they're going to go for a little bit of a ride. Oh, up on the wall. And we're going to have a caution, surely. I don't see one coming out. I'm very surprised. We're going to have another moment. What is happening? Absolute carnage. All right. Well, that was an eventful start to a race, wasn't it? Gee. All right. I do not have... Okay, that's going to be interesting. So, let's have a look at what we can see here. Gonna have to turn down the volume of everything else so this doesn't blast everyone's ears. Unless it has. I hope that did not blast everyone's ears. It probably did. And going to have a look at this one. Gyrocam, I'm going to see this is going to work at all. Okay. So that was our friend Dev McDonald. That's what happened to him. And there's a whole bunch of others. It wasn't just McDonald. Not again. Alright, so watching now Eric Hahn. He was involved in that with Devin McDonald, so that explains that one. Yeah, just a checkup there from one of the cars out on outside. Oh man, I'm really gonna have to have a word with Mason about that. Oh, it's definitely an interesting one, isn't it? But yeah. So lots of technical issues going on in the booth. Uh but you know what? I'm having fun. I'm hoping everyone else is having fun. I try to enjoy, you make the best out of what you got and trying to put on the best show I can. As Devin McDonald is now in the pits. I'm not sure why it shows on my timing screen that he's leading the race. There is something seriously off with my system at the moment, but um, Dante Hua is running in. I believe that's going to be actually the second spot. As there we go. We're up the top. And yeah, maybe not the two. Is it working itself out? I hope so. There is a lot happening. This is a mess. Alright. Let's try and reload this one. Fix it. We're showing Devin McDonald is actually out, not as the leader of the race. Randall Taylor apparently is the leader of the race at the moment, and somehow I don't think so, because I don't see him up the front there. So I see Andrew Payne leading the race at the moment, and he's currently shown as third on my timing screen. This is this is possibly the most hectic broadcast I've ever had to do, but yeah. But I do know from third on back is currently first on back. So Andrew Payne, Charles Darling, Donovan Carty, Lee Campbell, and John Kane are going to be your top 5. Followed by David Payton, Hayden Swank, Michael Sturgill Jr., Nick Fleury, and Brian Wilderson are going to be your top 10. As we go back under green, Andrew Payne going to take a big jump at the start. It's going to be fantastic for him. As I believe my software may have just fixed itself, it looks like. So that is a great sign off the start. As Andrew Payne takes a ginormous lead. Donovan Carty trying to follow him through. Charles Darling on the high side, not letting him go for a run. There are cars all over the place. Nick Fleury a little bit further back in an intense competition right here. Surrounded by cars 3 wide for a brief moment as the 27 machine just a little bit slow on the high side. That's Lee Campbell falling a little bit behind. As we can see all kinds of action happening right now. And I believe if we go up front, we are going to have a battle for the lead. I was right. Charles Darling trying to take over the front spot from Andrew Payne. Able to get it done. Payne has the inside line though, which seems to have been the preferred line for the Super Late models to this moment in all three heat races, but not doing a whole lot for Andrew Payne at the moment as Donovan Carty passes him on the high side as well. Andrew Payne just lost a little bit of momentum in that scuffle there. Sturgill coming back underneath Payton as well as Hayden Swank trying to find his way through. Very easy to find where Hayden Swank is on track. That car is absolutely neon lit up with how fantastic the paint scheme is on that. Reminds me of, well, let's say any bridge in the world with all the graffiti all over the place, but we will continue as we go a little bit further back. Tim Rogers and Nick Fleury are having a side-by-side bout just behind them. John Kane and Brian Wilderson as well involved in something. So 2 wide, 2 deep. Further back in this pack, this is going to be 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th that we are looking at currently. As Rogers makes his way around. Was Rogers in a different... I feel like Rogers was in a different scheme to what I'm seeing right now. Unless I got it wrong. But either way, Rogers able to make his way past. We've got another caution coming out. That was a caution I did not expect. Eric Hahn has crashed, is what we're being informed. Oh, just grabs the wall and gets involved in an incident there with the 59 machine. Thankfully, no one else got involved in that. I'm actually very impressed on the part of Kenneth Farmer. Really doing a fantastic job of not getting in the path of any other vehicle. So that's pretty incredible. Sure, we'll go with whatever happened there. As showing everyone crashing now, which I can plainly see with my eyes is not the case. They're just entering the pit lane and my software is registering them as crashes. They are not crashing, they're just entering the pit lane. So, one thing I have noticed, which I actually didn't expect, I'm not too super familiar with the super late models, to be brutally honest with everyone watching at home, but from what I can understand, just from watching this race, if nothing else, these are very, very difficult machines to control. I genuinely assumed that the ARCA car was probably one of the hardest NASCAR-style machines, stock cars, to control. I seem to be proven wrong here, as these things are sliding about quite a lot, and we're not even at, like, a small oval with plenty of sliding opportunity. You know, this is a big multi-million-dollar circuit, Charlotte Motor Speedway. Might have a few bumps in the surface, but it's probably smoother than some of the other things these cars would normally run on, although a lot bigger and they are running a lot faster. So that may have something to do with it as well, but yeah, seeing a lot more instability, shall I say, out of a lot of these cars at the moment, which is quite fascinating to me. But you can see here, as our timing board struggles to keep up, I was hoping this would show one in a better light. Yes, there we know it's not quite done yet. Waiting for Darling to reach the top. Almost there. Doesn't look like he's going to reach the top, and for some reason everyone is 2 minutes behind. So, we're going to just say that Charles Darling is in fact, there it is. Charles Darling is in the lead. Donovan Carty following in the outside lane. Andrew Payne falling a bit further back, starting on pole. He's going to be in the 3rd position. Hayden Swank joining alongside him in the 2nd row. Michael Sturgill Jr. in the 3rd row, and David Peyton as well alongside him on the outside line. See Kenneth Farmer there just catching up to the rest of the field as the lights are out on the pace truck. And we're going to get ready to rack 'em, stack 'em, and get 'em rolling once again. Pace truck looks like it's got a little bit of interesting suspension. It's wobbling about quite a bit, actually, now that I look at that. The rims also seem to be too small. But regardless, Charles Darling taking the lead and taking it commandingly as he goes straight through. Andrew Payne following him through. Donovan Carty getting left a little bit behind. Michael Sturgill making a big lunge under Peyton. Lurie following him through. Wilderson trying to follow as well. You can see all these cars coming underneath. They're all very, very quick. Traveling at speeds of 180 mile an hour. Wilderson underneath Peyton. Tim Rogers trying to fill that gap. Not quick enough though. Peyton comes down and gets the ball rolling. Hayden Swank trying to make a move. Donovan Carty stuck on the high side above him. Michael Sturgill Jr. is going to try and make something of that as well as he goes underneath Donovan Carty. Keeping Carty high up on the banking, allowing for a much shorter run around the inside. Payne a little bit higher up. You can see just a little in front there of Hayden Swank, so that'll slow him down as well. As Sturgill making that move past Donovan Carty. Nick Fleury not allowing Carty to come down at all. The Carty is going to be stuck, and the freight train of cars heading in on the underside of the track, really going to make it difficult for Carty to retain any kind of position here. As Carty continues to be stuck on the high side, might just find the gap there. It's pretty tight. Does manage to come down. So great work from him as he's able to get down in front of Brian Wilderson. And Wilderson with that almost Tron-like paint scheme. And light blue on a completely black machine. I do like it. I like a lot of the paint schemes I'm seeing here tonight. And I'm sure you do too as the viewer. A lot of great representation coming out as we're going to have single file for quite a ways through the field, I believe, as we're going to have John Meester just finding his way around Randall Taylor with some blinking issues there in his Ford style super late model. And interesting machine was on the was that McLeod? That was Devin McLeod, our supposed leader of the race for quite a while. Not the case, of course, as we know, and unfortunately having a little bit of issues, but he is back onto the track. Blake Lothian has fallen down quite a long way, 12 spots, and we saw him, that 59 machine, just getting a little bit involved in the last instance, so trying to work his way back up after getting that car fixed, and really seeming to be making a good job of trying to make his way through the field. Just ahead of him, Lee Campbell is going to get overtaken by John DeMister. Maybe, maybe not, as his Spitfire themed number 27 machine hangs on. Blake Lothian making the high side work. Not seen many cars do that, but trying to make it work around Lee Campbell. Has got the position currently. Not sure if he's going to be able to hold it. There is a little bit of a dent you can see just on the front quarter panel on the left side of that machine. Looks like a dent to me. I believe it is one. And he is going to take that spot away. Further up front, it's going to be a battle for the lead again. Hayden Swank underneath Charles Darling. They are leaping like frogs out here. Not able to actually make it happen though. Hayden Swank falling a little bit behind. Michael Sturgill just in tow. Charles Darling a little bit higher so up the track. So that's not going to be what he wants to see, but it is going to be what Hayden Swank wants to see, especially with Michael Sturgill pushing him forward. And this is going to be a train of cars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I can count, ladies and gentlemen. There are about 11 cars all in a single file line up here in the front pack. So this is fantastic to see. This is great racing. A little bit of a lead pack has formed with, yes, the 11 cars I can actually count, as it turns out, as Hayden Swank continues to have Michael Sturgill Jr. just right on his rear bumper. And they're all of these cars so close together. 1.5 seconds between 11 vehicles. That's pretty close. As I'm sure everyone else can agree. I believe I saw a potential battle brewing just a little bit further back in this pack. It looks like it's settled down as soon as I saw a car pull out, so nothing doing there. Dante working his way on. Blake Lothian made his way back around Dante, I should say, for the 12th position. Hayden Swank and Michael Sturgill actually went for a little bit of a move. Donovan Carty looks like he's making a move, sorry, on Nick Fleury as well for the 4th position, able to get it done. Fleury's going to want to tuck in as soon as he can to get behind when that move is completed by Donovan there, so that he doesn't get strung up on the high side, as we've seen plenty of cars do so far. Catching up, Ryan Carty, potential 3 wide, could happen. Side's better of it, probably a good idea. Fleury able to make the high side work a little bit. Very surprising to see that at the moment, as Hayden Swank is just watching these guys from the rear view thinking, whoa, I'm glad I'm not a part of that, as Fleury continues to try and work that outside. He's kind of stuck up there involuntarily at the moment, but surprising how much pace he's able to keep as he continues to stay up there. So Fleury getting a little bit low, or Sturgill getting a little bit high, almost touching. I don't think there was contact, but it was very, very close, as the number 3 machine, Donovan Carty, is going to come around and continue to try and take that fight to Fleury. A little bit further back, you can see side by side, Hoffman just got overtaken by John Kane there. We go back up front. That battle didn't last as long as I thought it was going to, as Nick Fleury continues to be on struggle street here, really, with this outside lane. I mean, I say struggle street, I'm very impressed that he's able to keep that Super Late model pointed the right direction, let alone seemingly a little bit even faster than some of the cars. Hayden Swank just ahead was actually 100th, I mean it's only 100th, but 100th slower that last time by. Oh, sorry, that was best lap. They were even actually last time by. Never mind me, I'll just be sitting here. And Nick Fleury is going to have to find that gap. There's a little, oh, it just gets closed up. Beautifully executed by Donovan Carty there to close that one up. Ooh, Michael Sturgill trying something else. That's going to be interesting. As we hinted another 3 wide. No, Sturgill's going to make that beautiful move under Hayden Swank with the old switchback. I love to see it. Swank goes way too high. Loses a lot of momentum. That'll drop Fleury down as well. So Donovan will get that spot from Fleury. I say Donovan, I should say Carty, because you can see Carty on the timing screen as Carty makes his way around Swank as well. So they're going to be side by side now. And these top 4 really showing the rest of the field just how it's done. And Brian Wilderson has clawed his way up quite a lot as well to try and get involved in this pack. A little bit further back, John Kane making moves again, trying to get around Tim Rogers. Now, Tim Rogers, we've seen, has had quite a bit of pace, so this will be a test for John Kane if he can make that 29 machine work underneath Tim Rogers. Tim Rogers making that high side work quite well, as we had a pass for the lead, and I'm so disappointed I missed it. Michael Sturgill Jr. with a very powerful move. It seemed like Donovan Carty following him through. Charles Darling stuck on the high side. Brian Wilderson stuck on the high side as well behind him. And that's going to be Peyton as well. So some cars trying the high side. And of course, as soon as I mention it, they all come low, realizing maybe that's not the best idea. As we continue going with this one, Charles Darling is falling back ever so slightly. It's not as quick a drop-off as I expected. But the real question is he going to lift just a minute amount and fall in behind Swank, or still try and fight on that high side? Still try and fight is the answer, as he's just running a little bit higher than would really be effective, not wanting to get too close to the door of the driver beside him, which is a very safe way of driving, but it will slow you down, especially on these high banked corners. So Brian Wilderson trying to get as fast as he can. Looks like Charles Darling got very, very loose coming out of the exit of that. That's going to slow him down big time. Wilderson is going to make that move. Got a battle for the lead again. Donovan Carty is going to go underneath Michael Sturgill Jr. These super late models, I don't know what I was expecting, but I did not expect it to be this intense. This is absolutely astonishing. I've never seen so many passes for the lead in a single race before, and I haven't seen a single car get stretched out. Usually you see one or two drivers far eclipse the field with their prowess, but just not happening in the American Sim Racing Club. I almost said All American Sim Racing Club. I'm sure there are some drivers in here who are not American, so that would have been a mistake. And your broadcaster is Australian, so that wouldn't have worked anyway. But regardless, Charles Darling still on the high line. That's not the preferred way, but might be struggling with a little bit of looseness, or tightness I should say, really dragging the car up on the high side there. It might just be feeling a little bit more comfortable on that high side. Still keeping pace. So I'm very surprised. Well, David Peyton making that high line work as well as... Oh, here we go. Andrew Payne has found something, and he is clawing his way back after dropping back very early in this race, being left out to dry on the high side. Like my socks on my clothesline, Andrew Payne making his way through the field fairly quickly. The 48 machine of Tim Rogers going underneath David Peyton as well. So Peyton stuck on the high side. Did seem to make it work though with a couple of moves, so might be able to keep in front, and does, and locks it down, comes back in front of Tim Rogers. So fantastic racing we can see. John DeMister, as I just panned back, I just quickly glanced at it, making a move on Lee Campbell for the 14th and 15th place. We have not shown enough of these drivers a little bit further back in the field. But that's because the front has been so intense and continues to be, as it looks like we're going to go back up there again. I apologize, but Hayden Swank is under fire from Charles Darling once again. And this is much... the intensity is just... It's never stopped. 50 laps and 50 laps of just wheel-to-wheel action. Hold on for dear life as Swank just continues to drive the wheels off of this car, but not quite able to get away from Charles Darling. And Andrew Payne, our pole sitter, making his way very, very quickly. You can just see the speed difference there underneath Charles Darling. And Andrew Payne, I mean, he's just quick. He's just quick. Take nothing away. We've got even more. No, we've still got 11 cars under a blanket, all in single file once again. Super late models seem to really appreciate being in the draft, and look how low Andrew Payne is able to hold that line. Absolutely fantastic stuff. Great car control from him as he tries to duck it underneath Swank. Swank not having a bar of it though. Payne tries the outside. That's going to be interesting. As they go too wide a little bit further back. It's going to be Peyton trying something under Wilderson. And Payne finally able to get underneath Swank. Swank comes back down, has enough room to do so, and does. Darling falling a little bit back behind. Wilderson making his way up. Wilderson passing Darling now. Darling strung up on the high side. That is not the place to be, as we've seen so far. Some drivers able to make it work though, which is fantastic. And we've got a battle for the lead again. Sturgill Jr. has made his way up 10 spots in this race and wants to get the lead. Now, 10 spots was assuming that he was in the lead because he was for a brief second, and he is once again. And Hardy able to come down very quickly and block off any attempt from Andrew Payne just behind. And going for another run at the lead. 14 laps to go in this one. As I take a tiny breath, realizing that I've probably talked for too long. I'm just incredibly excited. This racing just does not stop. Andrew Payne going for the underneath of Michael Sturgill. Not able to get anything done though, so we're going to see him fall back in line. Nick Fleury still stuck on the high side. Charles Darling also stuck on the high side. We've seen those drivers stuck on the high side quite a few times, as I repeat myself 3 times. Good thing I'm not saying Beetlejuice. As Donovan Cardy and Michael Sturgill are going to go at it once again for the lead. Little bit of lap traffic just in front. That may throw a spanner in the works, as Sturgill is going to make his way around Donovan Cardy on the high side. Cardy says, no, I don't think so. I'm going to fight you for it. Cardy leads that lap just barely. Sturgill continuing to be on the underneath. Andrew Payne waiting, watching. Seeing what's going to happen. Lap traffic gets out of the way. Fantastic respect from these drivers as Sturgill continues to try, and we're going to have a caution just to throw a spanner in the works. Randall Taylor, a little bit further back in the field, is going to have an issue. And we're going to lower the volume. We're going to actually turn off quick before we start it so that we can see if we can get this dialed in proper. Sure that made much of a difference, but I hope it did. That was Randall Taylor just in front. So it registered, did it? I'm showing that the yellow flag was caused by Randall Taylor. Now, Randall Taylor was the lapped car that was on apron, allowing for all those drivers to get past without much issue. And, oh, he decided to tow. Oh, might be some... I don't want to say it, obviously, but might be some games being played. I don't know if teams or anything like that, but nah, it's probably not. I'm just yanking your chain, but really 10 laps to go, and the reason that caution was brought out at all was simply to do with the fact that, yeah, there was a tow being taken by one of the cars. Oh, wow. That's as sideways as you want to get, Charles. I don't think Darling wants to get that sideways when he's actually out on track, that's for sure. So, yeah, that was that was so yeah. Um, that's unfortunately what brought out the caution. I believe was the tow from Randall Taylor. Unfortunately, a towing car would bring out the caution, so that seems to be the case. As yeah, Andrew Payne currently in his field. Cardi is behind, so uh, I believe just in front of them, it's going to be loud. Getting the wave around there, and as well as other drivers. Now, how are we showing as there is? Yeah, okay, it's fine. Calm down. We've got. We are continuing to watch Donovan Cardi and Andrew Payne making their way around. Payne on the inside line, so I should have said him first. So the pace car lights are out, pace truck, I should say. As Andrew Payne, Donovan Cardi in your top row, Hayden Swank and John Kane in your second row, and third row is going to be Dante Huber and Michael Sturgill Jr. It doesn't say Sturgill Jr. on the timing screen. I've just realized it only says Sturgill, but I've got Sturgill Jr., so I'm going to say Sturgill Jr. because I believe that in American, in American, in I believe for Americans that's a big deal, as Andrew Payne takes a dramatic lead. Wow, was completely not ready for that. Was Donovan Cardi. Donovan Cardi was actually underneath him. Oh well, as we've got Andrew Payne, Hayden Swank, and Donovan Cardi now 1, 2, 3. Payne trying to get away, just leave. But Swank not wanting him to do so at all. As our biggest mover of the race so far is actually going to be Stephen Hoffman down in the 9th position. In that lovely 19 machine. You know, a lot of people think that purple and yellow do not go together. I am not one of those people. I actually think that they are quite complementary, funnily enough. I don't know why I think that, but I do. So, that's my opinion. And everyone has an opinion. So we're going to keep going. Charles Darling is looking like Lothian is going to make a move on Charles Darling. And Lothian has worked his way up from a bad crash early on and has worked his way all the way up from the back of the field around 20th position up to 8th. So fantastic job, and looking to get into the top 7 as they get very close together, they do. Darling hits the outside wall. That's going to slow his pace down big time. 1, 2, 3. Hoffman, Wilderson and Fleury all going past. So Darling, who was in front of this race for quite a while, is going to fall back a fair bit. But Andrew Payne continuing to put on a clinic as Hayden Swank follows right in tow. And you can see there might as well be a rope attached to those two cars, because Hayden Swank knows just how to sit behind someone, as he has done so several times in this race already. We've seen he certainly knows how to push, and he keeps on getting it done. As Donovan Cardi also trying to catch up with them. There's a car going a little bit high there. Looked like Tim Rogers. Tim Rogers up 10 spots himself, so fantastic from Tim Rogers as well. Almost seemingly coming out of the sticks, but was part of that top 11 group, so not exactly too far back. John Kane the same, also finding himself in the top 5 now as well. Wilderson and Hoffman having a battle now. Hoffman, if he continues to stay in front of Wilderson, will be up 12 spots. We've got a battle for the lead happening. Andrew Payne falling behind Hayden Swank as Swank just makes his way through. No worry at all. Andrew Payne tries to get back in line. No, finds that run on the outside lane. Wow, that's a lot of speed that I didn't know existed up there. Hayden Swank continues to just really find a rhythm and stick to it. Going to block the run from Andrew Payne. That's going to allow Donovan Cardy to sneak in between the two of them. Almost thought Cardy was going to have a run at Swank as well, but not quite doing that. John Kane and Tim Rogers having a battle just behind as well. Tim Rogers got that preferred low line. 3 laps to go. A little bit more of a battle. Down here in 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th. Oh, sorry, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. Blake Lothian still making his way through the field as Wilderson keeps him pinned to the top, and there's going to be a little bit of bumping and grinding. Fleury lost all momentum and gets tagged. Is that going to bring out the caution? Yes, it will. And that is going to throw, as my grandma would say, a cat amongst the pigeons. Or as most people would say, because they're normal, a spanner in the works. So, Hayden Swank will be on pole position for this green, white, checkered flag. Alright, so I realize I should have everyone. What's going to happen? I apologize. How loud that probably was. Let's see here, Fleury underneath. Then just ahead. There's a little bit of a bump, has to check up. No room up top. Gets loose and just gets a little bit of a wallop. And that's going to send him spinning, and that'll bring out the caution. And just as I go back to live, heads up, this will probably be loud again. Alright, I'm going to have a word with Mason about potentially turning the sound off of that transition entirely. But regardless, he's been fantastic, and he's really helped me sort this out as quick as I could get it done, and unfortunately we've had some issues, but we're working through it, and it's been a great race. I've been enjoying every minute of this so far. So, racetrack lights are still on. I don't think we will see anyone come down to grab some fresh rubber. It's highly doubtful at this stage of the race, and well, Hayden Swank is really going to be looking to try and get out a big gap like what Andrew Payne did last restart. Because if he's able to do that, I'm not sure there will be enough laps for the drivers behind him to catch up to, let's call it, that street art 35 machine. Because, yeah, we've seen that before, and it's taken several laps before any of the drivers even remotely come close. So, really make that work. My timing and scoring, as you can see, is Still having a little bit of a fit, but yep. So, as the pace truck lights go out, we have Swank, Cardi in front two. Andrew Payne, Tim Rogers, third and fourth. John Kane, David Payton, Ryan Wilderson, Blake Lothian, Stephen Hoffman, and Kenneth Farmer, seemingly out of nowhere, in 10th position. So, great drive from Farmer to come all the way back up. Tim Rogers and Stephen Hoffman, both currently sitting in the 4th and 9th place respectively, have been your biggest movers of the race, both up 11 spots. So I'm sure they'll both be thinking about competing for that extra spot or two to solidify the biggest mover of the race. Now in comes the pace truck. We're getting ready to go under green-white conditions. Aiden Swank's going to lead the field. There's already calamity. There's so much calamity. It's somehow we continue green. Not sure how that's been allowed, but we're going to do it anyway. Hayden Swank, there must have been a small checkup on the start. A lot of drivers thought they would go. They did not. They got involved in one another. That's going to give Swank a huge half a second lead over Donovan Carty, who's under fire by Andrew Payne straight away. I'm so surprised a caution didn't come out, but we're going to keep going as Swank continues to lead this field with a hardy gap. Andrew Payne trying desperately to really catch up to Donovan Carty just ahead, with only 0.2 of a second separating each driver in the top 3 spots. They're really catching quick up to Swank now, as Swank is going to fall clutches. Carty is going to have the massive run. Is it going to be enough? No, it's not. 1, 2, 3. You can see it there. 35, 3, 93. The top 3 all with the number 3. And that is our race. Great drive from all these competitors. I have had a blast commentating it. I have also not stopped talking very much, so I apologize if you got sick of my voice. And there was so much to talk about, so much going on. That was fantastic. As you can see, Swank heading into the to celebrate quite a bit. So we will get ready for our driver interviews in just a moment. We might run through the grid first as we let the drivers kind of cool down, get used to where they are at. There we go. There's our field. You can see Hayden Swank, Donovan Carty, and in our top 3 positions. Tim Rogers, Blake Lothian coming back from a bad crash fairly early on and making his way all the way to 5th. Fantastic drive. David Payton, Michael Sturgill Jr., Lee Campbell, Nick Fleury, Kenneth Farmer in top 10 spots. Cycle that back. I can. There we go. So you can see where favorite drivers end this one. Screen now. See if drivers their interview waiting room, but we do have some drivers, so I'll see if I can up for us. To So there we go. Let's bring Andrew Payne up the booth. Da, 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 da. Once again. Andrew, I have dragged you into the booth. Have you got a copy?
I got a copy.
Well, Andrew Payne, first of all, hello, and welcome to the booth. We saw you having a phenomenal run. Um, I don't have much to say other than your car seemed to be the quickest out on the field at the moment. Just unfortunately not able to get it home with the win, but it seemed like your car was very balanced on the low line. Was there any particular way you drove the car to make it really stick there, or was it just feeling fantastic?
Um, through some testing earlier in the week and earlier tonight, was kind of found my comfort zone of how far I could go into the corners, and I had watched through the heats and drove through the heats, and I knew that people are going to be burning their stuff up going in a little bit too hard, and I just sort of backed it down. Normally, 50 laps at Charlotte it's a decent amount. So, I was trying to save tires. And ended up having to save a little bit of fuel during that long stint we had. But yeah, it was just a matter of saving the stuff and making sure I got to the bottom. Just backing up entry and getting a good run on exit. And that the second to last caution we had was a little bit unfortunate. I think I would have had I think I would have had gotten the lead close to the end there, but sometimes just get a little unlucky when the cautions fall, but it's ended up leading still in the end, and that last caution we had set us up for that green white checkered, and starting third, I knew I was not going to be able to do anything with the single file start, but still managed to finish third. I miscalculated my fuel load a little bit, so I ran out coming out of four to the checkered flag. But solid night overall. Pole and the heat win and third place. So solid start to the season, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it looked like a great start, Andrew, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in the booth because I know I'm going to with a performance like that. And I was gonna almost ask you a couple more questions, but I feel like you just answered everything in that in that speech there. So I might I might actually let you go as I continue to go through these interviews. And would you like to shout out anyone for this third place finish? You've done a fantastic job, and can't wait to see you again.
First and foremost, huge thanks to you guys at Team Goon Squad. For calling these races. You guys have been with us for a big portion of our existence, and coming on for another season. We really appreciate it. Huge thanks to Tanner for putting the series on and putting the league on. I know how much work goes in, and it's exciting. An exciting new season. Huge thanks to all my partners: Quick Time Motorsports Media, Hall Metal Fab, Tight Sawn Mower, V&H Fresh. Um, uh, Ryko Performance. Huge shout out to my parents and grandparents for supporting me in all my forms of racing. All the other league members out here for putting on some good shows. And last but not least, huge thanks to all the fans for coming out and supporting the broadcast and the league as a whole. We really appreciate all the time that you guys come out and watch, and looking forward to next week.
All right, sounds good, Andrew. I mean, I guess last but not least, I should I should also say yeah, thanks to Mason basically got me to take over, and I hope I did you proud with a good job from another Team Green Squad broadcast. So, um, but yeah, I mean, I love chatting to you just now, and I'm sure I'll chat to you again fairly soon. So, yeah, we'll see you in a bit.
Yep, thank you.
All right, that was Andrew Payne. Next up, we're going to have Donovan Cardy. See if I can find him. Chat somewhere. Is we're gonna put down. Donovan, you've got a copy.
I do have a copy.
Well, First of all, I'm gonna wait for that sound to go away. I know you couldn't hear it, but yeah, there's a little bit going on in the booth. But so,
No worries.
ah, cheers. So how was that race from your point of view?
It was a hell of a lot of fun, I can tell you that. I mean, just the as close as we all were together there for I mean, from lap 20 on, we had that long run there in the middle and everybody was I mean, it was tight, but everybody raced real hard, real clean. Just a lot of fun. And I think if I had one more lap, I think I could have made a move on the 35, but he got a pretty good jump on that last restart, so he got me. But it was a lot of fun racing with him. The 93 was up there a lot. I raced around pretty much those two guys most of the night, and it was just, I mean, probably the most fun I've ever had in a super late model.
It looked absolutely phenomenal from what I was able to witness, and I don't think I've ever seen cars drive so close together so long and so many lead changes. I mean, it was all over the place, but through it all, you seemed to keep your car more to the low side. We saw the high side not really working out for a lot of drivers tonight. Was that the key to coming second?
Yeah, absolutely it was. I noticed early on in the race, I was painting one and two. I mean, I think I even had my left sides down below the paint in one and two. And I started noticing just on corner exit, I would gain an inch here, inch there, half a car length here. And so I figured I'd try the same thing down in three and four. And I was basically just waiting on my throttle uh, a little longer than most guys were, but it actually ended up paying off for me in the end. And I think it's because I was not cooking that right front as much. I was waiting on that throttle, so I was able to gain some ground there, and that's what prevailed in the end. And um, like I said, if I had one more lap, maybe we're talking about a win. But um, pretty happy to come out here and take P2 in my first race with these guys. It was, I mean, like you said, a lot of fun for a long time racing right next to guys. I mean, I can't recall either the last time I've raced that close with guys and not had incidents at all. So props to everybody that I raced around and just a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was great to see. Now, lastly, I do want to talk about have the you have the number three and you have a black car. I have to ask, is that a Dale Dale Earnhardt?
Yeah, if you go look at my right rear bumper, it says for Dale on there. Everything is always for Dale. He's probably the most famous race car driver to ever live here in the United States, if not in the entire world. So it's definitely a Dale inspired car.
All right, well, that is fantastic to see, and the perfect number for it as well. Because I've seen people try to copy it without the number three, and it's just not the same.
You got to go with the classic font on there. But if you're going to ride the number three, you got to drive and make yourself be in the front because you can't drive around with the number three and be in the back.
Well, you've certainly proved that today. So I'm sure we'll see you up with the number three in one of the top three spots in the near future for the next few races, and talk to you soon. But before that, who would you like to give a shout out to for this second place finish? It was hard fought, but definitely deserved.
Oh, just shout out to everybody at ASRC for putting this on. Ever since we started running these recruitment races with them, it's been nothing but positive races, and I mean it's second to none. I've been in a lot of leagues, and this one takes the cake. It's run well, it's clean, a lot of good drivers, and this is going to be a lot of fun.
All right, sounds good. So I'm sure we'll see you in the future in not too long. Yeah, it'll be good to see you then. Have a good night.
Yep, looking forward to it. Cheers.
All right, that was Evan Cardi. And up next, we are going to rewind the tape one more time before I even bring him in here because I know how loud it's going to be. All right, there it is. So the man, the myth, the legend, we are going to see if we can, wherever he may reside at the moment, so we can find, where is Hayden? Oh, lost Hayden. Ah, there he is. I found him. Hayden Swank, have you got a copy?
Yes, sir. I got you.
Well, not much I can say about that race, apart from just what a phenomenal job you did. I mean, that was fantastic from start to finish. Your car's incredibly vivid, couldn't miss anything that you did, and yeah, just walk us through it.
Yeah, so I felt like tonight we had a ton of fast guys. I felt like there was really 10 people that could have went out and won that race at the end of the day. But yeah, I was just really working on playing the chess game all night, working on good track position. And then from there, it was all about saving fuel because if it went green after that long green flag run, it was definitely going to be close. And then, took two tires that turned out to be the right call, based on the wear with the hardware on the right front. And then making that final pass on Andrew there at the end, I knew it was going to be tough and he'd probably get me right back. So it was just a matter of just like laying back a little bit, trying to bring the 3 car into the draft and like trying to freight trade Andrew so he couldn't get me back because that was the only way I was going to beat him. But it was a phenomenal race. Huge thanks to the ASRC for putting on an incredible season, and I'm ready to go fight for a championship.
Well, you certainly look like you've got the pace for it, that's for sure. And like you said, there were like 10, there were 11 cars all in a line that were equally as good as each other. It was phenomenal racing to watch from up here in the booth, and I'm sure the spectators at home absolutely loved it. But one thing I do want to say is I think you got closer more often than any other car I've ever seen to the rear bumper of someone else. Just Do you just have a knack for knowing where the front of your car finishes? Were you just waiting for the perfect opportunity to pull out of the draft and make a move? What? Uh, Give us an insight.
Yeah. So I do have a little bit of a system to make sure I don't run in the back of anybody and these cars and then these cars at this track. It's definitely not something you want to do. I do want to apologize to Sturgill in the 90. I did. That was the one person I did run into the back of at the end of the night. But yeah, I think just maximizing that draft was really crucial in saving fuel and also just putting pressure on other drivers because unless somebody else made a mistake, it was really, really tough to make a pass when everybody's that close together in terms of pace.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, lastly but not leastly, I guess is how I'm going to say that. Um,
Yeah, that tracks. That tracks.
yeah, sure. Okay, sweet. How did you find? Because I didn't ask the other drivers this, and I just realized it. How did you find the outside lane? I don't think we saw you travel there too often, but did you find that it lost a lot of pace? Because it seemed like once you got stuck out there, there were a couple drivers who were able to stay with the pack, but most of them started falling quite far.
I feel like a lot of that had to do with tire wear and a little bit tire temperature because on the restarts, like for the first 2 laps of a green flag run, I felt like the outside was somewhat viable. It definitely wasn't the preferred line, but it was definitely still workable. But as the right side tires, especially that right front, got a lot of wear on it, it was really tough to make that outside line work. So, especially in that long green flag run, I definitely was trying to minimize my time out there. I wasn't trying to make a pass, and when somebody did get by me, I didn't really fight it, and I just looked for the next hole to fall back in line.
It seemed like that was the key to really staying out in front is when a driver got past you on the inside, just find that gap as quick as you can.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's not to say this race was single groove. I just think with the kind of the draft, the momentum, I think it was just really, really important to make sure you get back in line and didn't waste too much time or kill your tires too much on the outside.
All right. Well, um, I mean, you're probably incredibly informative driver, that's for sure. So I'm enjoying because I'm actually learning a lot, surprisingly. So um, yeah, no, it's been great talking to you. Who would you like to shout out for your first win of the season, and potentially many more to come?
Yeah, absolutely. Want to thank Overtime Sports, always supporting my career, Chevrolet, and most importantly, I want to thank the ASRC. I appreciate them putting on this series again for another season, and they always put on a good show, and it was a lot of fun. Can't wait to come back next week.
All right, sounds good. So we will. I mean, if you come back next week, I'm sure we'll see you near the front again. I don't think that that's going to be too much of an issue for the way you performed tonight. So um, we will see you then, and I look forward to it.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much.
All right, that was Hayden Swank, our leader in this race, and well, I say our leader, our winner in this race, and I will bring up the results one last time, as you see there. There we go. So yeah, Hayden Swank in first, Donovan Carty, Andrew Payne, Tim Rod, and Blake Lothian, your top 5 once again. And scroll that through just quickly so that you can see other few drivers towards the back of the pack. It has been a fantastic time calling the race, and I hope that you enjoyed it. And I will see you around sometime, not sometime, same time, same place next week for more ASRC action. Catch you then.